lots of my men tragically died protecting Muslim lives in Iraq and Afghanistan. The second part of it is, whilst the police have reassured us that it's geographically and in terms of time separate, Horse Guards to Hyde Park is not far, actually, if you know the geography, which you do. And equally, we're going to have thousands of veterans descending on London to take part in Remembrance Sunday. And how are they going to get there? They're going to get there via train, via public transport. And the scenes that we have seen with people occupying our stations in an incredibly intimidating way produced a hugely difficult potential flashpoints all over London, which is going to be really hard to police.
Lincoln Jopp is a former colonel who served in Afghanistan and Northern Ireland and was awarded the Military Cross for gallantry in Sierra Leone. Morning to you, Lincoln.
Morning, Steve.
The Remembrance Weekend, Armistice Day is on Saturday. Remembrance Sunday is the day after. They are hugely important events for the armed forces. Do you have an emotional reaction when we're talking about all of this, about should there be protests on a day or weekend like this?
Yeah, I wish the protests weren't happening, pure and simple. And the reason why is because I and lots of other people just want the opportunity in peace and to remember those who've fallen, those of our friends, and those who've gone before us. And it's a huge shame, A, if this becomes a political thing, because it shouldn't, and B, if it becomes a controversial thing, because I think both of them are damaging to the memory of our fallen.
You fought in Afghanistan, you fought in Sierra Leone. One of the things, do you think about the fact that you fought in places where people don't have freedom? Where if you walk on the street and you say something critical of the government or the status quo, you get lifted and you get put in prison with no due process. Is there something that you fought for, your colleagues have fought for, your colleagues have fought and died for, about freedom that actually means, provided the protests are away from the remembrance, there is something not quite fitting, but something uncontroversial about people exercising their rights to freedom, because they're the sort of freedoms that you fought for?
Well, I would probably just add as the first line to that answer that lots of my men tragically died protecting Muslim lives in Iraq and Afghanistan. The second part of it is, whilst the police have reassured us that it's geographically and in terms of time separate, Horse Guards to Hyde Park is not far, actually, if you know the geography, which you do. And equally, we're going to have thousands of veterans descending on London to take part in Remembrance Sunday. And how are they going to get there? They're going to get there via train, via public transport. And the scenes that we have seen with people occupying our stations in an incredibly intimidating way produced a hugely difficult potential flashpoints all over London, which is going to be really hard to police. And so I wish that the organisers of the march had listened to Sir Mark Rowley's request that they postpone it until another day.
Can you distinguish between the right to have it and a request to not have it, if you see what I mean? Do you think they do have the right to do it?
At the moment, they do. And I wish they wouldn't. But let's see what transpires over the next couple of days, because as your former guest, the former Chief Constable, said, if there is specific intelligence to say that there is a threat of serious violence, then there are grounds for stopping this march. And I think it is worth, people should, by the way, before they rush to judgment, I know you have and I know Asma has, but people should subscribe to the Times and take out a subscription and read the article, because it's a lot more nuanced than some of the headlines are portraying it.
So you're not unhappy with what she's written?
So she said, the one which is making your headline is that the police are partial when it comes to how they do left and right wing. Now, she says, I believe, there is a perception amongst the population that things are policed uneven-handedly. Now, I've supported police in riots and marches all over the world. I've done it in Northern Ireland. I used to spend every Sunday actually stopping a group of people marching down a road that they wanted to march down because it would be insensitive to the people who lived there. Now, I personally think it's pretty insensitive to the millions of people who want to wear a poppy and remember their war dead to have a march on Sunday. But at the moment, we're not stopping that.
Saturday, yeah.
And the other one, which is a bizarre set of circumstances, I found myself, I think it was in 2011, at the Cenotaph on Armistice Day, and there were about 200 members of the English Defence League there. And I don't know what intelligence the coppers had, but Bernard Hogan Howe, who I think was frequently described as a no-nonsense policeman, sent in the trucks. They all got lifted, 200 arrests, I think, and they all got taken out of London because he had specific intelligence to suggest that there was going to be drama. Now, let's see what happens between now and Saturday in terms of what intelligence feed Sir Mark Rowley gets and what judgments he comes to in whether this parade should go ahead or not. As I say, personally, I just want to remember my friends who died in peace, with respect and great dignity. I think the vast majority of the British public would like to see that too.
Okay.
And I don't think this march should go ahead.
Lincoln Jopp, thank you for joining.